Welcome back to Project 613. Today we are going to be looking at 12 different mitzvahs. Again, continuing along with the theme of idol worship. The first mitzvah for today warns us that a person should not go in the ways of a chaver, which means a charmer. There was an ancient practice where people would chant magical words and they would believe that that would heal a wound or alleviate pain from a scorpion bite or a bite from a snake, and that would be forbidden to go to such a person. The second mitzvah is we cannot communicate with the dead. We cannot do anything which seems to help us receive information from those that have passed. So the Talmud explains that this is talking about an ancient custom where people would fast for many days and they would sleep in the cemetery with the hope that the dead would appear to them. This would be a prohibition of Doresh El Hametim. The third and fourth mitzvah for today are again referring to the practice of Ov and Yedoni. We already explained what those practices were and what those behaviors were, and today's mitzvahs are telling us that not only is it prohibited to act in the ways of Ov and Yedoni, these idol worshippers which would try to do different things to try to communicate with the dead, but not only is it forbidden to engage in this behavior, it is also forbidden to seek counsel from a practitioner of such behaviors. The fourth mitzvah for today tells us that is magic and witchcraft. It is forbidden to practice magic and witchcraftery. The sixth mitzvah for today is a negative command. We cannot cut our sideburns, our payas. We have to leave our payas on. Well, it's actually the negative command not to cut those sideburns. That was a practice that was common amongst the pagan nations and idol worshippers. The seventh mitzvah is that a man cannot shave his beard with a razor or razor-like instrument. There are many which believe that we shouldn't cut our beards at all. Some people, even religious people that do cut their beards, make sure not to cut their beards with anything that would resemble a razor that uproots the hair from its roots. Rather, they would use something more akin to a scissors. The eighth mitzvah for today is that a man cannot cross-dress. He cannot wear the clothing designated for a woman. That was a practice that, again, the idolaters, the idol worshippers would do, and it can bring a person to behave immorally. We also have a mitzvah that a woman cannot dress in the clothing of a man, clothing that is designated specifically for the use by men. The next mitzvah is a mitzvah that we shall not have tattoos. In addition to this being the common practices amongst the idol worshippers, our bodies are not our own. Our bodies belong to Hashem, and we do not have the right to damage them or to change them. The next mitzvah is that we cannot scar ourselves. This is a common practice for idol worshippers to do during their time of mourning. They would actually carve themselves and hurt themselves, scar themselves, and that is something we cannot do. And finally, the 12th mitzvah for today is that a person should not tear out hair from their heads. Again, this is also something which people would do during the time of mourning. As a sign of mourning, they would actually tear out hair from their heads, and that is not a Jewish custom, a Jewish practice, and one shall not do that. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you again tomorrow.